I have a goal to ensure that every single monotype hardcore Nuzlocke in every mainline Pokemon game is completed on YouTube. How do we accomplish that? Through this spreadsheet. Every game has been accounted for. Heck, some are finished. But some are criminally underrepresented. I, ChaoticMeatball, am here to fix that. There's still dozens of runs on here, actually over 100, and some of these are considered pretty much impossible. But I want to prove that this one isn't, that being Pokemon Red and Blue with only electric types. Unfortunately, there's only 6 encounters available for the entire game, those being Pikachu, Voltorb, Jolteon, Magnemite, Electabuzz, and Zapdos, 3 of those being in the power plant. I figured it doesn't make sense to do the whole 1 encounter per area rule here, otherwise I'm stuck to only 4 encounters, and considering how many areas I have to skip due to no encounters anyway, it only makes sense to allow for a full team. One problem though, Pikachu doesn't get an attack to hit Brock's ground-type moves before the level cap. How do we fight back? Well, you'll have to stick around to find out. But before we get into it, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the spreadsheet in the description to give me suggestions on Nuzlocks you want to see me do that haven't been done yet. All of them are going to be done at some point, hopefully, but I'm curious if people think that some of them are more intriguing than others. But with that, let's begin. So starting out, of course I can't get an electric type starter in Red and Blue, but because Pikachu is available so early on, I just decided to go for Squirtle for an HM user later on, giving my rival the only starter that resists electric type attacks in Bulbasaur. Taking out that first rival fight lets me head straight into Viridian Forest to grab that first encounter in Pikachu at level 3, giving me just a wee bit more flexibility in terms of stat experience training. In case you're unfamiliar, stat experience is the progenitor of EVs, or effort values, with 65,535 points being able to be dedicated to each stat, and those points are added based on the base stats of the Pokemon you defeat. So Pidgey yields 40 HP, 45 attack, 40 defense, 35 special, and 56 speed, no matter what level it is. So by KOing level 2 Pidgeys, we're repeatedly getting 15 EXP for each set of those points, giving us as much advantage as possible before Brock. However, you might be asking, how are you going to beat Brock with no moves to hit him with? Well, let's see with struggle. I also went over the level cap by accident, but straight up, I can't even beat Geodude with struggle after multiple attempts. Though this was mostly practice and I didn't count all of these attempts, so we'll just call this a one and done into attempt number 2 with something else. Attempt number 2's strategy is going to be a little bit different from what I normally allow, and that's trading to yellow. See, the only reason we're doing this is because Pikachu learns Quick Attack at level 12 in yellow, so by just bringing it over and leveling it up on the same level 2 Pidgey on Route 1, I can at least get an attack that connects with Geodude and Onix, trading it back to ensure I can get to the level cap of 14. There's also a single required trainer with a level 9 Weedle in the Viridian Forest, so I can push straight to the level cap, taking him out and heading straight into the fight with Brock afterwards. He leads Geodude, I lead Pikachu of course, and go straight for Growl, getting 6 of them up to make sure I don't take very much damage, with Geodude missing a tackle, landing one, then going for 3 defense curls in a row before the 6th and final Growl connects, leading to a second tackle. From here, I've only taken 5 damage out of 41 HP, so I'm good to start wailing with Quick Attack, basically relying on critical hits to get through and into Onix. However, this ends up going poorly on this attempt, as I barely get any critical hits with 4 in total, all while Geodude manages to get 1 with Tackle, nullifying all 6 Growls and eventually leaving Pikachu with only 6 HP post-level up, bringing in Onix. He goes straight for Bide, which was what I was hoping for, going for Growl, letting me set up 4 of them before he does no damage. The 5th connects as Tackle does 2 damage, as does the 6th, while Tackle still does 2 damage. I guess that was a waste of a turn. Good to know, since this attempt is likely about to fall by the wayside, as at this point I just start trying Tail Whip to see if I can fiend for another Bide, and nope. Another Tackle brings Pikachu down, leading to attempt number 3. Of course, this leads to a few resets to make sure that I get as good of IVs as possible, which leads to another 41 HP Pikachu, which is nice. But this time, I managed to get through 6 Growls while he matches with 6 defense curls, then relying on Quick Attack to get crits in order to clear through just like the last attempt. It ends up taking 15 attacks, but 6 of those end up being crits before KOing and leading into Onix with 29 out of 43 HP. Thankfully, the 3rd time's the charm as well, seeing as Onix just keeps on going for Bide, letting me get off all 6 Growls and Tail Whips without taking a lick of damage, only attacking on turns where he's not biting, then switching back to my stat reduction moves to burn turns until he doesn't do any damage. Eventually, Pikachu lands the smackdown with around a half dozen quick attacks at -6 defense, KOing and winning the fight with over half HP. Well, it did take a trade to yellow version for quick attack, but it is doable. I'm super happy that we can proceed past the early game nonsense. The pathway to the Cerulean City Gym isn't too hard, seeing as there's no required ground types on the way through Route 3 or Mount Moon, but I do have to manage my EXP effectively. Considering that my level cap is 21 for Misty and 24 for Lieutenant Surge, with only a single Pokemon being usable for both fights, I'm gonna need to not hit a single optional battle or I may be screwed. We also do pick up the TM for Mega Punch here in Mount Moon, which will help a lot for non-electric damage, pummeling our way through the required Rocket Grunt and Scientist holding onto the fossils. I made sure to not take any Dome here since Pokemon fans don't get any in games or in real life, moving on through to Cerulean City. Now we're still around level 18, meaning I have enough room for some more EXP. So for the required trainer in Misty's gym, I just take it out with 2 Thunder Shocks, then head straight for the rival. He's got 4 Pokemon to R1, but Pidgeotto is a 2-shot with Thunder Shock following a quick attack, so that's easy. Abra has no attacking moves and goes down to Mega Punch following the level up. Then Rattata goes down to a Mega Punch quick attack combo, leaving just Bulbasaur to go down to 2 Mega Punches. All in all, with Pikachu only going down to 18 HP, but plenty enough for me to not feel very threatened. We're not able to get very far through routes 24 and 25, but being able to squeeze this extra EXP in before Misty is pretty helpful just for the stat boosts, getting through all 5 trainers on Nugget Bridge as well as the Rocket Grunt at the top before heading back for the Cascade Badge. Misty leads off with Staryu, a simple task to take down with 2 Thunder Shocks following a Water Gun for 10 damage, leaving just Starmie. It outspeeds and goes for Tackle, doing 10 damage once again, as Thunder Shock gets a lucky crit, doing half damage, though the second, following a Water Gun that does 15 damage, is only enough to bring Starmie to the high red HP. I figured I could probably just get around a possible crit by going for Quick Attack to end this, but non-crit is not quite enough to KO. That's a little bit of a rough estimate that we went wrong here, but as luck would have it, Starmie misses a 95% accurate tackle in order for Pikachu to deliver the final blow with Quick Attack, giving me my second badge. A little close for my taste, glad she didn't go for Water Gun every turn, but we're almost to our second encounter. Well, usable encounter. I did make sure to grab a Spearow on Route 4 so I could use it as both an EXP dump via leading with it and switching on the first turn as to not use it in battle and abide by the hardcore Nuzlocke level cap rule, but also so I could trade it for Farfetch shortly for a useful HM user as it gets both Cut and Fly. I'm ashamed to admit I even had to change the battle mode to shift for this, but otherwise Farfetch would just get KO'd after the trade happens and screw up my EXP dumping here, but this is the only time I'm using the feature as to keep the Nuzlocke intact as much as possible within our current rule set. This gives me just enough room to head into the battle against my rival, then blast through him with a critical Thunder Shock on his lead Pidgeotto following a quick attack for 11 damage, then doing the swap dance for Raticate before taking a quick attack and delivering 2 Thunder Shocks for the KO there as well. Kadabra's out third, so I do the swap once again, Mega Punching to one-shot before doing it one last time for Ivysaur, hitting a Mega Punch before seeing a Leech Seed. Now that kinda sucks, 2 Mega Punches would have KO'd there if it weren't for the move choice, but now I need to land 2 more in the next 3 turns to avoid making this potential 4-shot, and just potentially wiping in general. Thankfully, Pikachu doesn't miss during the next 2 turns though, hitting the trifecta to KO and award me the win. And would you look at that, still level 24. And into 25 right as soon as I beat the rival. God damn it. Really? I mean, come on, I'm doing my best. There's only 1 encounter up to this point. I'm just gonna fight Lieutenant Surge. We shouldn't have any more level cap problems following this though, and level 25 really shouldn't make much of a difference compared to level 24, though I still expect to be thoroughly eviscerated by the very intelligent YouTube comments. Surge starts off with Voltorb, I go with Mega Punch with Pikachu, thankfully outspeeding and doing a little over half, only to take a Sonic Boom for nearly a third. It's a bit rough, but that's fine as long as we nail another Mega Punch next turn, and we do, as his own Pikachu takes the field second. It goes down to a single Mega Punch, leaving just Raichu to be hit by a critical Mega Punch before using Growl, taking around 60% in the process as a second connects next turn, bringing Raichu into the low red as an X speed is used. Well, that was a very intelligent move, Mr. Surge. It's too bad that Raichu's at too low of HP. Quick attack. Bye-bye. Whew. All things considered, though, that fight could have gone a lot worse, and I really thought that this might have been the roadblock. And while, yes, EXP-wise it certainly was, and I should have gotten an EXP dump earlier, but again, I don't think a single level did anything to make the fight easier. Now then, with the Thunder Badge in hand, it's time. Heading out through Route 9 lets me finally arrive in Route 10, where I can capture a second encounter in Voltorb. This is absolutely perfect at this moment in time as well, considering I finally have a Pokemon that can hit rock types with something resembling damage thanks to Sonic Boom. Sure, it's not much, but when it's just Geodudes, I'm not really feeling too threatened by the whole ordeal. Plus, with Cut in Hand, I can go all the way back to Route 1 and get Voltorb up to par with Pikachu thanks to the power of Stat Experience and Level 2 Pidgeys. Top that all off with the TM for Thunderbolt, since for some freaking reason, the Voltorb line doesn't get a single Electric-type move outside of the TM, and we're golden from there. Rock Tunnel poses no issues, including the Hiker that has 2 Geodudes and a Graveler. He actually didn't even need Voltorb for that fight. But from there, we're able to emerge on the other side with no issues, getting over into Lavender and then Celadon City for our 3rd team member in Eevee. Or rather, Jolteon after picking up 2 Thunderstones from the department store. And while it does stink to evolve Pikachu with only Thundershock and no more moves after that, well, it doesn't really get any better, considering level 43 is when it learns Thunder, not getting Thunderbolt by level up and us already using our one-time TM. I'd rather not wait until right before Koga and Sabrina to evolve it into Raichu, but I guess I can't complain at this point. I'm just glad I have half a team and actual options for fights compared to just a dinky Pikachu. One trainer in the Celadon gym later though, and I'm ready for Erica. It's a 3v3 thankfully, so all I have to do is 1-for-1 exchange with her Pokemon without getting Mind KO'd in return, which shouldn't be too hard thanks to all of the stat experience added while attempting to get to the level cap. She leads Victory Bell, I go with Jolteon and outspeed with Swift, doing a quarter as Rapid snares Jolteon for a few turns, not doing too much, but when followed up with a Razor Leaf once a second Swift connects, we're both on equal footing at half HP. I go for a 3rd Swift, and it does another quarter, letting Victory Bell get off another Razor Leaf crit, and while it looks like a range, I still have to go for it, hitting a 4th Swift and netting the KO on Victory Bell. Whew, first Pokemon down. Second is Tangela, who I opt to take down with Voltorb due to not being fully evolved and this being the weakest of her team. So weak, in fact, that despite needing 4 Thunderbolts to take down the Tentacle Hentai monster, it only manages to shave off around 15% of Voltorb's HP thanks to Bind and Constrict, KOing and leaving Vileplume. Surely with the 2-on-1 advantage, I should be able to win here with 0 losses, so I go for Thunder Wave, getting a full paralysis turn straight after as Sonic Boom does a hair under a quarter, leading to Petal Dance. It only does 32 damage, leaving me with 38 HP, which survives anything but a crit, so I just go for the second Sonic Boom, taking a second Petal Dance, which thankfully doesn't crit, doing only 28 damage. The third doesn't even put Vileplume into Fatigue though on switch to Raichu, doing a hair over a quarter damage, nor does a 4th, but thanks to a Mega Punch and Quick Attack combo, Vileplume's done and dusted, and we're halfway towards the Pokemon League, with an evolution into Electrode to boot. With my level cap skyrocketing from 29 to 43, I've got more than enough flexibility to max out my stat experience on all 3 of my current party members, allowing me to blaze through the Rocket Hideout and get to Giovanni. He's a little threatening because of his ground types, but with the TM for Double Edge, that'll give me a ton of extra power behind my attacks. Thankfully, his lead Onix doesn't have any ground moves, so I can just set up a stand attack with Jolteon, then go to town with Swift, only taking a grand total of 10 damage from Rock Throw before finishing it off with Quick Attack, leading to Rhyhorn. 5 Swifts and a Quick Attack put him down for the count, though Horn Attack does put a pretty significant dent into Jolteon's HP, going below half as Kangaskhan remains. From here, it's pretty simple though, just swapping out into Raichu, using Submission, then using Quick Attack to finish off the minuscule amount of remaining HP to win the fight. Probably could have led with that for the rock and ground types, but I figured I could reserve the recoil attack for later. The rival fight in the Pokemon Tower isn't much harder either, seeing as his levels are lower than Giovanni's, and because of that, it's an easy sweep. Taking out Pidgeotto with 2 Swifts from Jolteon, then Gyarados with 2 including a crit through a Dragon Rage. Third is Growlithe, who hits an Ember for 5 damage before a Swift and Quick Attack combo brings him down, bringing out Kadabra 4th, who's felled by a Swift. Last out is Ivysaur, and since I outspeed and hit Swift for half damage, his newly laid Leech Seed can't trigger until after I attack again, which is more than enough damage to end the fight single-handedly. Can't complain about that, though I'm still locked into just these 3 party members until I get Surf. Something that I'm not too fond of, considering I usually like going for the Silph Co rival and Giovanni fights before fighting either Koga or Sabrina. So I might have to consider taking on Koga at a little bit of a lower level to ensure my access to the remainder of my team, with the exception of Zapdos, of course, who can't be used until we get to the Viridian Gym. With Mr. Fuji rescued, though, the decision is still not clear. I do head to Fuchsia, make it flyable, then opt for Silph Co first, grabbing the card key before going back for the HMs. Quite frankly, I'm still undecided and really don't know what to do. I guess I just have to go for Silph Co first and see if I could take out the rival fight. He leads with Pidgeot, I go for Electrode and go for Thunderbolt, missing with a 1 in 256 glitch because we have at least one of those every single red and blue or yellow run, as he goes for Whirlwind, doing nothing as moves like that and Roar do nothing in trainer battles in Gen 1. Gotta love how this game is held together by spitting a wish. Thankfully, next turn, Thunderbolt does land after Pidgeot lands a quick attack, one-shotting and leading to Gyarados. I don't know about that one, Chief. Down it goes to Thunderbolt, as does Growlithe, leading to Alakazam 4th. Swift ends up doing a little under half, with Psybeam not doing too much thanks to Electrode's high special, so I go for a second one to bring it to low red HP before Recover just heals that attack right back. Well, I guess I go for it over and over, hoping for high rolls until it either goes down or it attacks with Psybeam or something, which thankfully happens next turn. On the unfortunate side, though, it is a crit, missing the KO by a bit, but still bringing Electrode into the red as Swift KOs, leaving just Venusaur. At least from here, it's a hop and a skip to Jolteon, taking a Vine Whip before starting to wear it down with Swift, in which I quickly realize, this doesn't do jack before using Thunder Wave and swapping for Raichu. At least here we can take a Leech Seed. Alright, you stupid plant hover. Guess we gotta do the swap shuffle here, back into Jolteon, only to take a Poison Powder. Wrong move if you were looking to do the Leech Seed Poison glitch, but regardless, that would have been a little too much damage every turn on Raichu, so I just stay in and start going for Swift again. Vine Whip doesn't do much, and thanks to a well-timed critical hit, we KO with half HP remaining, winning the fight with no losses. Awesome. I guess we may as well just go for Giovanni and do the order that I normally do. He leads off with Nidorino, thankfully not fully evolved, so it's still just a poison type and ripe for the picking with Raichu, using Thunder Shock and getting the 2-hit KO through a guard spec with a nice crit that ensured we wouldn't be dealing with ranges. Second up is Kangaskhan. That's an easy submission target, though I do miss the first one and get hit with Comet Punch. It does basically nothing, but damage adds up quick with recoil moves. However, Giovanni's really stupid and has an addiction to guard spec on his weakened Pokemon, so it does not matter, letting me follow up with a quick attack to KO. Third is Rhyhorn, and submission is a 2-hit KO through a Stomp, but with Nidoqueen entering the field last and my HP getting close to its last legs, I need to swap into something else. Jolteon should be capable of doing decent damage with Swift, using a barrage of them while taking the Tail Whip, Scratch, and Poison Sting. Admittedly, the last of those does end up poisoning Jolteon, but god, it is painful to watch the AI use the 4 newest moves of a Pokemon that it learns from its moveset when Stone evolutions are involved. You'd think the developers would have caught that in playtesting, but honestly, who knows if any fresh eyes were on this game before its full release, or if it was just internal staff testing it only and not realizing it because they had been working on it for so long. Speaking of which, wouldn't a documentary on the development of the original Pokemon Red and Blue, as well as Green, from its 1990 start as Capumon, detailing all the way through the 1996 Japanese and 1998 North American releases of Red, Green, and Blue be really, really cool? I feel like that it would make bank considering it's the largest multimedia franchise on the planet, but I digress. It takes around a half dozen Swifts to finally throw Nidoqueen off its feet, KOing and giving me the win. I guess I didn't really need the additional power plant encounters for these fights after all. However, I do need that Master Ball, may as well only take one trip into the power plant and grab Zapdos immediately without needing to worry about taking any damage from it. Heck, I think I'm not even scared of Sabrina, come to think of it. I'm gonna go for her now that the gym is open and do that first. No required trainers in here, so we're tearing straight into her with her leading Kadabra, myself Electrode, and immediately outspeeding with a Swift that does well over half. She reciprocates with Recover, but that doesn't recover all of the HP lost, so either I hit a crit or she uses Recover over and over again until going down, with the former happening pretty much immediately thanks to Electrode's insane speed stat, KOing and walking out Mr. Mime into yet another critical Swift before going for Light Screen. I see the AI is predicting the physical special split about 10 years too early. Regardless, Swift number 2 brings Mr. Mime into the deep red as Barrier is used, but it's too little too late as a third and final Swift seals his fate. Third is Venomoth, and seriously, why is this with the Psychic Gym and not Koga, who's sitting right there after this with 2 coughings, a wheezing, and a muck? Could have given him this and Beedrill over the 2 coughings, and it would have made for a fun dual-type gym, and, you know, Sabrina could have used something better, like a Slowbro, instead of giving it to Lorelei, the Ice-type user with a Water and Psychic type. I am just gonna stop with the diatribes. Venomoth falls to 2 Thunderbolts without doing much, leaving just Alakazam. Swift does around a third as she goes for Barrier, which, holy crap, that's actually a decent move, and now I'm forced to use Thunderbolt to do at least some decent damage here. and it ends up doing more damage than Swift despite the special stat? Huh, guess I'm the stupid one. Either way, all we end up taking is a Psybeam, getting a crit for half damage before a second Thunderbolt puts him down for the count, giving me the win. 5 badges down, just a quick grind to level 43 for the cap now, as we only have one gym leader to beat before it goes up again, and quite frankly, Koga is a joke. He leads Coughing, I go with Raichu and straight away get a crit double edge to KO, leading to Muck, who goes down to 2 consecutive double edges despite going for Minimize. Half the team gone, and the third Coughing also falls to a crit double edge, leaving me to just deliver one more to his last Pokemon in Weezing, before calling that a successful recoil run, taking a Toxic before swapping to Electrode in order to finish him off with a Thunderbolt Swift combo, and only seeing an X attack before getting the win. One day I will understand why the AI decides to use X items on Pokemon that are going down that turn. And that day will be when I die, meet God, and ask him a very specific dumb question because no one on Earth is physically capable of explaining it. Well then, with 6 badges, I can finally use Surf outside of battle, making Cinnabar Island a flyable location, and finally letting me get to a full team of 6. Well, 5 until after Blaine, but we can at least capture Zapdos with the Master Ball, then both Magnemite and Electabuzz to flesh out the team. Magnemite's nothing special without the Steel typing, in fact it's probably the worst member of the team, but Electabuzz is probably the second best team member behind Zapdos, considering it gets some great coverage in the form of Psychic, as well as learning an actual good Electric type move by level up in Thunder Punch. With a base 95 special and 83 attack, even the physical options like Submission and Hyper Beam are pretty decent options. Though admittedly, Hyper Beam is a great option on almost everything in Gen 1 that can one-shot with a physical move and not take a recovery turn because of it. With the team filled out though, I can do the second to last stat experience grind, getting the newly evolved Magneton and Electabuzz maxed out and ready for Blaine. Glad that there's no required trainers between the last gym and this one, because I can go straight in. He leads Growlithe, I lead with Electabuzz, and one-shot it with Thunder Punch, nearly doing the same to Ponyta as Growl is used, letting me finish it off with Quick Attack. Great move there, bud. Third out is Rapidash, also receiving a Thunder Punch to the dome, all while getting paralyzed. And hey, that's basically a full paralysis turn right there, since Tail Whip may as well have read do nothing, as a second Thunder Punch KOs, leaving just Arcanine. Despite his best efforts with burning Electabuzz with Ember, landing a Fire Blast for around a third, the combo of Thunder Punch, Psychic, and a second Thunder Punch are enough to put the supposedly legendary Pokemon down permanently, earning me the Volcano Badge and access to Zapdos, baby. And just in time, frankly, I really needed a Ground-type immunity going into this last Giovanni fight, otherwise I may have been royally boned in terms of trying to do this run deathless. He leads Rhyhorn, I go with Electabuzz for the special stats on his Pokemon being utter garbage and using Psychic. Taking it down in one shot, leading to Dugtrio. We once again outspeed, thanks stat experience, hitting Psychic for the near one shot as he goes for Dig, and this is exactly why we needed Zapdos. Every single Pokemon on the team would probably be dealt a one-shot KO by this Speed Demon here, but that convenient flying typing allows Zapdos to take no damage and follow up with a Drill Peck for the KO. Drill Peck once again is a great friend, being able to two-shot Nidoqueen, but not quite Nidoking thanks to a range. I guess this time it's not really a problem, at least neither of them did much damage and were easily taken care of, leaving just Rhydon. I don't really have a good option here other than barrage it with Drill Peck until Zapdos has either taken too many Tail Whips to survive a stomp effectively, or is just beaten down by several of them, and sure enough the former happens after 2 Drill Pecks connect, doing pitiful damage but enough to make Psychic a convincing 2-shot from Electabuzz to KO from this point. That is, if we dodge Fissure. And we do, because it is Gen 1, delivering the second one to seal the deal, earning entry into the Pokemon League. Alright then, only one required trainer before the Elite Four and Champion themselves, so may as well raise our levels up to the moon here, doing stat experience for Zapdos before bringing everyone up to level 61 in preparation. That gives us a level of wiggle room just in case on everybody, but frankly we only needed to leave Electabuzz that low because it takes care of the entire team. Thunder Punch on Pidgeot, Psychic on Rhyhorn, Thunder Punch on Gyarados, Thunder Punch on Growlithe, Hyper Beam on Alakazam, and finally Psychic on Venusaur. 2 Psychics on Venusaur, to single-handedly mop the floor with Mr. Pooh here. One Victory Road and slight moveset optimization later, and I'm ready to go. Well, slightly less than ready, since I forgot to go from level 61 to the cap of 62, but consider it a handicap for accidentally going over level for Lieutenant Surge. First up is Lorelei, a relatively simple fight as Dugong goes down to Electabuzz's Thunder, as does Cloyster, leading to Slowbro who falls to Thunder Punch. Jinx is a one-shot with Hyper Beam, then Lapras falls to Thunder to win the fight damageless. Bruno's the same, as Psychic takes care of Onix, Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, Onix number 2, and Machamp all in one shot each. Third up is Agatha, and we have 5 more power points for Psychic, so may as well just try to one-shot her poison types too. Gengar is up first, but instead takes 2 after using Confuse Ray. Well, at least Golbat is second and falls to a super effective Thunder Punch, without even having hit ourselves yet. Third is Haunter, almost going down to a single Psychic as she goes for the plain special, a Super Potion. Sadly, the damageless run of the Elite Four ends here with Electabuzz hitting itself, though with Haunter using Dream Eater while Electabuzz isn't asleep, then snapping out of it next turn, it's a cinch to take out Haunter with Thunder Punch, Arbok with a critical Thunder, then Gengar takes a massive Thunder before once again confusing Electabuzz with Confuse Ray. This time we don't have as much luck though, with Electabuzz proceeding to hit itself, take a Nightshade, then hit itself again down to just 61 HP, which is just enough to survive another potential Nightshade because it's level 60 and we would be left with 1 HP. Thankfully, we snap out before that can possibly happen and deliver the final Psychic needed to KO and win the fight. Can't say I'm surprised, Gengar is a pretty specially bulky Pokemon in this game, but only 2 fights remain between me and the taste of victory, and that taste is going to be very nice considering the typing that we're using and all of the insane stupidity we had to deal with between the first 3 gyms. Lance is up next, dodging Thunder from Raichu on back-to-back turns with Gyarados, shoutouts to the TM for it from the power plant, all while nailing 2 Dragon Rages in the process. But third time's the charm as it connects to KO, leading to Dragonair. Double Edge is a one-shot with a crit, doing around 75% to the second Dragonator. Dragonator? Am I thinking of Baconators? It's not even typed like that in the script, I just said Dragonator. I think I'm hungry. Either way, I'm able to do that 75% while Slam brings Raichu down to just 33 HP, though a quick attack is more than enough to KO before Aerodactyl enters fourth. I've got a swap here, going for Jolteon and taking a takedown before missing with Thunder, all while Aerodactyl misses with Supersonic, leaving it to fall next turn to Thunder as Dragonite's all that remains. We miss Thunder once again, thanks 70% accuracy, as Hyper Beam tears through our life bar, but giving Jolteon a free turn to once again miss Thunder. Feels like I've missed more of these than I've hit, but we still haven't suffered a loss yet. I do at least get to keep it that way by swapping into Electabuzz, seeing Agility out of Dragonite before finally landing a Thunder for over half, seeing the second Agility. That's perfectly fine as Dragonite is for some reason spamming Psychic moves, and the third Agility comes out as Thunder misses, then a Barrier before a second Thunder finally depletes the remainder of Dragonite's HP, clearing the Elite Four and leaving just the champion. Taking after his name, this fight is poo for him considering how quickly I trounce him thanks to Raichu. Yeah, you were expecting Electabuzz on this one considering the fight before the Victory Road, but Thunder to Pidgeot, Double Edge to Alakazam, a combo of 4 submissions through a full restore to Rhydon, and a Thunder to Gyarados KOs all 4 of them in sequence, leaving him with just a third of his team against 83.33% repeating of mine. What can I say? I had to get my obligatory math nerd line in here somewhere. But from here, it's a quick swap into Electrode for his Arcanine, coming out 5th and using Takedown as I throw out 2 Thunderbolts through another Ember to KO, leaving just Venusaur. Thunder Wave basically incapacitates his last threat quite a bit before the swap to Electabuzz seals his fate. Try as he might with critical hit Razor Leaves, a Psychic and Hyper Beam combo is just too much for the champion to withstand, KOing his starter and earning me the title of Kanto Champion with only electric types. And hey, I didn't even have to use Zapdos outside of exactly 1 ground-type pivot. All things considered, I probably could have done this without a legendary considering Magneton did not see a lick of screen time and could have been the sacrifice to Dugtrio's Dig before finishing the rest of Giovanni's team off with Electabuzz, but I'm more than happy being able to do this deathless and proving that you can beat Red and Blue with only electric types, thanks to a little assistance from Yellow version's Level Up Learn set. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like as it helps out a lot. Make sure you've clicked that subscribe button, comment down below with what other monotype runs you want to see, and of course, I do still have my affiliate link to GamerSups down in the description. If you want to use that, you can get 10% off using my code ChaoticMeat at checkout. All of the flavors are fantastic. In fact, while I was here scripting, or rather voicing over the script, I have actually been drinking the pineapple cocktail flavor because I needed caffeine, and it is currently 6:46 in the morning of this video's release. I really am bad at deadlines. But with that said, I'm Chaotic Meatball, and you folks stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.